This is an audio sample of Another Dirty Room, written and read by yours truly. Another Dirty Room is a new erotic ebook that follows Ava Jackson, who, after cutting ties with her abusive family, has been living her van life dream. In 3 years, she's traveled across 3 countries and experienced several sexual encounters. Currently, she's on her way to Central America to visit Sebastian, a perverted writer who fled gloomy, expensive Seattle for the beaches of Panama. But first, Ava wants to spend a night in her not-so-secret sanctuary. Laid over in an Arizona border town, Ava spends the night sketching and reminiscing in a dirty motel room. Sebastian calls. The ensuing event encourages her to arrive in Panama a little faster. If you wish to support my work, please check the description for more information and links on where you can purchase the book. Also, feel free to sign up for my new free newsletter so you can keep up with my newest creations. And friendly reminder, all of this is for adults only. So if you're under 18, don't open those things up, sweetie. I hope you enjoyed this audio sample of Another Dirty Room. Ava Jackson proudly sports the title of Black Sheep. She's, according to her estranged Uncle Peter, a dirty hippie. Actually, Bob, modern hippies are known as bohemians in some circles, she'd inform while mirroring his smug smile. Her grin grew as she savored his crumbling expression and hot anger. Sadly, and fortunately, such interactions remained in Ava's fantasies. What else do you expect from the middle child? She often joked. Until a point, Ava was labeled as the good one. Her wish to be alone was granted by her parents' divided attention. When she did ask them for something, it was for inexpensive art supplies. When she was 18, Linda and James became aware of their second daughter's presence, albeit briefly. College and wage slavery is completely out of the question. Ava is pansexual, but no one needed to know that. Linda was annoyed when Ava rejected following their faith and became an artist instead of something more useful. But that annoyance only lasted a few hours. When Ava announced she was going to Virginia to start construction on an old van, her family shrugged and continued to ignore her. Ava's guilty conscience will whisper that the day her parents finally paid attention to her could have gone better, followed by Ava telling it to piss off on the grounds of fuck them. Ava's older sister, Ina, was pregnant at 18 and married the baby's father. Ina, already a perfect ogre, had an elegant transformation into a classic mombi. Matthew, from lack of discipline, became an awful semen demon. His father, Mark, wasn't ready for any of it. Ava still doesn't know how to apologize to him. If Ava knew 2 things about her sister, it was that she was manipulative and wanted children. Even so, she choked on her anxiety. Watching Ina take advantage of Mark's fence sitting, Mark knows Ina must have poked holes in the condoms, but he still followed tradition, while praying to a God he didn't believe in to become a good husband and father. When Matthew was 3 months old, Mark confessed to Ava that he was considering suicide. Mark was hesitant to lean onto a 16-year-old for support. At first, he was bitter at Ava, envying her freedom of youth and responsibility. She never had to deal with an angry pregnant woman who wouldn't care for her own child, nor was she working 3 jobs to buy a house for his demanding wife. However, Ava was the only normal person in the Jones household. Despite living under one roof, Ava wasn't blind to suffering like the rest of her family. Mark's pleas to the universe for aid was clearly being answered. Ava leapt into action by putting Mark in contact with her therapist. She reconnected him with friends, aided in enrolling Mark into a community college the next state over. Ava also found an affordable divorce lawyer. While Mark got the hell out of Dodge in his beloved '04 Jeep, Ava served the papers. Emboldened, she also confessed to helping Mark gather evidence of domestic abuse. When Ina exploded and threatened to hurt Ava next, Ava blushed about a kill switch. One wrong move, and she would leak everything, including evidence of attempted cheating, to the entire church. Ina, in her inflated ego, backed down. Mark is now a broke mechanic, but fulfilled in his new life. He even managed to fall in love again. Ash is a feisty redhead who instantly bonded with Ava. She's also the only person who knows about Ava's guilt. After promising Ava to love Mark the best she could, Ava began to sleep easier. On her 18th birthday, Mark gifted Ava a black 2000 Chevy Express. It was love at first sight for the girl in her van. She instantly named him Jet. Her van life dreams becoming reality, Ava crashed on Mark's couch for 8 wonderful months. Mark and Ash educated her on basic car maintenance and repairs. They gutted his interior, added a bed, kitchenette, artist desk, closet, and other thrifted furnishings. When they were done, Jet had transformed into her bohemian dream home. No one was impressed with Ava's efforts when she returned to her parents' cushy 5-bedroom purgatory. Ava's last day at the ranch house was during Mary's baby shower. Her younger sister was almost 18 and recently graduated high school. Her ex will be 19 soon and hasn't been seen or heard from since Mary told him she was keeping the baby. Upon arrival, Mary greeted her sister with her incessant whining. "It's so small and tacky," she complained about her newly built backyard tiny house. "Why am I being kicked out? There's not enough room for my things. Aunt and Uncle Peter are old. They can live in it instead." Typical, this being her welcome after her family hadn't spoken to her in months. Once in the backyard, Ava overheard Linda gush to the neighbors about completing her latest project. Ava didn't know nor care that her old room was now Matthew's. Still, it would have been nice if someone had asked. Ava instantly suppressed the thought and greeted the rest of her family. Ina ignored her. James did his best to welcome her back. Lost in a sea of neighbors and extended family, Ava faked polite hellos while searching for a quiet spot. She cringed at the Peters' continued attempts to claim her parents' house as their own. Matthew hadn't changed either, still attacking whatever he saw and crying when he didn't get his way. Knowing that she wouldn't be asked about her miss, Ava considered disappearing into the safety and comfort of Jet. She would return to Virginia and apologize to Mark and Ash for her lack of trashy Bible Belt family stories. On her way there, she's more than likely going to pull over and masturbate to memories of overhearing Mark and Ash have sex. It wasn't completely fucked up for her to do. The walls were thin, she was bored, and they knew she did it anyway. It was all good. Instead, for some godforsaken reason, Ava stayed and suffered. Linda, completely ignoring the fact that her youngest had also become a teen mom, gushed about becoming a grandma again. James, once again rethinking his life, was doing his best. Ava did her best to ignore their conversations. She politely made a plate of pre-made salad, store-bought dinner rolls, bland packaged steamed vegetables, and a small piece of ribs drenched in sickeningly sweet barbecue sauce. Ava sat in a secluded corner, eating and checking her social media, always a stranger in her now former home. "Can I have your phone?" Matthew was staring up at her with his hand out. Ava gave him a puzzled look, learning to ask questions before taking items. This was new. "No, you can't," Ava responded dryly. "I want it!" Ava quickly got up and went to the kitchen. The insanity of an entitled toddler wasn't worth losing her temper over. 3 minutes hadn't passed before Ina came inside with Matthew and demanded her phone. "Why not get him a toy phone?" Ava quipped. "Those bore him, and I'm too broke for a real one," Ina dismissed while reaching out for the phone. Ava snatched her hand back. "Broke from what? Living with mom and dad? Or from the debt dad paid off after you dropped out of college? Or maybe, ow! Matthew, the fucking sexually transmitted dependent, hit her leg with his plastic baseball bat. Small as both were, the fucker hurt. Ava was now officially too old for this shit. Hit me again and I will break every bone in your fucking body." Cue the insanity. The screaming toddler, Ina's gaslighting. Linda rushed inside and told Ava to grow up. Ava declaring how she'd rather get raped by fucking Bob than give birth. Bob and Sherry Peters continuing with their shit. Mary's smugness being reduced to tears because your baby daddy would rather get an STI from some other southern slut than be shackled by your Karen ass. Ava instantly sent a thought of apology to the girl she called a slut. Linda tried to slap Ava. Ava pushed her away. She declared she was ashamed to be related to such high-class white trash before storming out. Jet ensured safe passage to the nearest campground. Hot, angry tears clouded the insulting text messages from her former family. She blocked them and sobbed until she couldn't anymore. Once her tears dried and head cleared, Ava realized the fight was for the best. She started to giggle. Her giggle turned into laughter. Ava's laughter grew into a vehement roar when she realized she was finally free. Her only regret was her wasted tears on people who never loved her. The next day, Eve Maria Jones paid tribute to her late godmother, beloved the local art teacher, Ava Rose Jackson, and changed her name to Ava Jackson. With that, all contact with her family and their history. For the past 3 years, Ava and Jet traveled across 3 countries. They were adopted by a black stray cat Ava named Cass after the street she followed Ava in Detroit. The trio shared wonderful memories of parking next to a lake and catching up on art commissions. Once work was done, she would grab paints and capture the natural beauty before her, Cass purring happily on her lap. Every couple of months, they would visit Mark and Ash for thorough checkups. Service fees were paid, and road trips across the East Coast, the group would play crude games, get high, and of course, have sex. Ava and Jet had seen a handful of sexual encounters during their travels. They were trusted friends of friends who were looking for a good time. There was Charlie, the Quebecan woman who taught Ava French, Ross, the chill liberal Christian in Ferndale, Michigan. He was equally disgusted with Ava's family and aided in her recovery from religious trauma. Tiana taught Ava the beauties of Mexico, where she thrived learning Spanish while cooking with citrus and spices. Then there's Sebastian, a perverted writer who recently fled gloomy Seattle rains to more affordable Central America. Ava and Jet were on their way to him now. They were coming from Washington, where they met Carlos, a friend of Ross who needed a cheap ride to visit family. Upon arrival in his family home, they feasted over hot tortas ahogadas and lime freshly picked off the family tree. Ava was invited to stay the night inside Carlos's wonderful family home. However, as tempting as more oral from him was, she excused herself. "I want to get to the border crossing before traffic blows," Jet says. This was true. Also, not everyone needed to know that Ava had another stronger desire she's been eager to act on. The trio journeyed 2 hours to layover in Nogales, a border town ravaged by the Trump presidency and COVID that was just beginning to recover. Ava sipped on her wine in her semi-clean hotel bed. She was, unfortunately, thinking about her family. Linda and James were probably once proud of Ava. At least, that's what her brainwashing tricks herself into thinking. She remembers Linda's remarks against her art before handing her a new sketchbook and pencils. Linda would then complain to James about her best friend teaching Ava how to draw people nude, but it kept her quiet and was inexpensive. Mary wanted to learn ballet. Ina wanted to ride horseback. Her parents believed they would grow to do great things through these quickly discarded activities. Whether it was cooking or sports, their oldest and youngest would become celebrities and uplift the family name, cultivating 2 teen moms while neglecting their middle child's desires for love. Part of the reason why Ava remained quiet was because she knew her parents were suffering. James was worried about her sister sleeping with boys. His suppression made him celibate, leading to Linda's repression. Ava's consideration towards them wasn't returned, so she sulked away to her godmother. Ivana never demonized Ava for speaking her mind. Dismissing Linda's traditional teachings, she taught Ava what her mother wouldn't about sex and puberty. Through art, Ava learned that the body was to be loved in all its natural beauty. Through Ivana, Ava realized that she could be, do, and love whatever and whoever she wanted. Even when she was too sick and weak to move, Ivana taught Ava how to crochet chemo caps, while bravely explaining the cold reality of chemo treatment. That day, 3 days before Ava's 12th birthday, would be their last. For better or worse, Ava's reflections always ended in Ivana's memories. Ava is 22 now. She keeps her curly hair short and ditched bras. Traveling and outdoor adventures blessed Ava with a sun-kissed complexion, confidence in her step. Ava's firm B cups and bubble butt bounces when she walks. Embracing her snark and crooked smile for the first time in her life, Ava was comfortable. She was drinking casamata, Ivana's favorite. Her sketch was almost finished. Afterwards, she didn't know what to do next. She was on the ground floor of a 3-star motel. Jet was parked in front of the window. Cass happily lazed inside the van, once again spared from Ava's affinity for dirty hotel rooms. Ava also refrained from bringing her lovers to her not-so-secret happy place. Not everyone found appeal in getting laid in dirty hotel rooms, but hey, they didn't judge. Let's be clear that Ava Jackson is not a messy person. She kept herself, Cass, and Jet clean and organized. She also didn't have an affinity for masturbating and drawing in dirty 2- and 3-star hotel rooms. It began one evening somewhere in Colorado. When Jet started to break down, Ava cursed at the rare engine failure and pulled over to Google nearby cheap accommodations. Thankfully, there was a motel across the street. Ava booked a room, prayed Jet would start, and crawled into a parking spot. Of course, Ava didn't need the room, but her water tank was empty, she needed a shower, and desperately needed to pee. Her emergency bottles was full, and she'd completely forgotten to dump it.